Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first of the university's autumn graduation ceremonies. The ceremony is expected to take up to 2 hours, and tea will be served afterwards in the foyer outside. For the comfort of others, you're asked to remain seated where possible throughout the ceremony. And it's especially important that the graduands remain in their seats until the end of proceedings. Now, the academic procession is at the door. Would you please stand?
Ladies and gentlemen, may I welcome you all to this graduation ceremony. I welcome particularly you, the graduands, who have devoted so much of your time and effort to earning the formal recognition you receive today. I offer you my congratulations and the congratulations of the Council and of the University. Today is your day. This ceremony is a public recognition of your years of work and endeavour. Today, upon your graduation, you will all become permanent members of the university. You will also be members of the Convocation, a body which has, as one of its responsibilities, the election of some members of the Council, which oversees the government and development of the university. You can also be actively involved in promoting the university's interests through the Alumni Association, and I urge you to do this for the good of the university, and also to broaden your very important network of contacts amongst your fellow graduates and professional peers. The university has also established a foundation to manage a fundraising program. As you progress in your careers, I ask you to remember the foundation and to consider what sort of contribution you would like to make. Many people have given you support, encouragement and guidance during your studies, and many of them are here today to see you graduate, your family, your friends and your teachers. We thank them all for what they have done for you. As well as offering you its congratulations, the university also gives you its best wishes for your future careers. The importance of a university qualification in furthering those careers will already have become apparent to you, we hope. And we hope that you have already found or will soon find positions in which you will be able to take full advantage of the knowledge and skills which you have acquired here. In addition to the vocational qualifications you have earned, I hope that your experience at this university has given you the power to make your own lives more fulfilling and equipped you to play a fuller role in your community. Australia's investment in its universities is justified by the richness which they can bring to your own lives, to your communities and to society in general. I wish to extend a special welcome to our speaker today, Dr. John Burgess, Group General Manager, Safety, Environment and Research at BHP. May I again welcome you all, and particularly the graduands, for whom this ceremony marks the culmination of years of work. May I ask that you use the benefits you have received by being here, not only for yourselves, but also for your community and country.
The conferring of degrees and the awarding of diplomas. The candidates from the Faculty of Informatics will be presented by the Dean of the Faculty, Professor Ah Chung Choi.
Will the candidates who are to be admitted to the bachelor degrees from the Faculty of Informatics please stand? Chancellor, I present to you the candidates to be awarded bachelor degrees from the Faculty of Informatics.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the bachelor degrees for which you have qualified.
Chancellor, I present to you for the Bachelor of Computer Science, Adin Ada.
That's your certificate.
Ayalil Ashfal Shubashi. Scott Anthony Belshaw. Ilenka Tatiana Budisk. David Hayward Clayton. Simon Cochrane. Matthew Danskert. Adrian James Hallam. Gregory Kingston Harkness. Yan Ming Huang. Andrew Grant Island. Nadim Ahmed Missa. Rehan Nasir. Matthew John Perry. Andrew Porter. Siva Yoganathan Ramanathan. Rohan Natasha Samara Sinha. Anthony Saunders. Brett Robert Sharman. Ming Kiet Tan. Mark Anthony Bokovtan. David Adam Watson. Henki Wijaja. Anthony James Winterbottom. Chong Man Yan. For the Bachelor of Mathematics, Mark Jason Barnes. Branka Kugali. Jason Peter Del Santo. Susan Dawson. Melissa Jane Hodge. Takayoshi Ikeda. Letitia Kong. Maria Angela La Machia. And for the Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Engineering, Mustafa Asani. Sayyida Khadija Hussain Bukhari. Miguel Angel Garcia. Michelle Ann Gibbs. Raymond Lau. Chris Losankowski. Nicholas Barn George Richardson. Konstantinos Sioruoninis. Philip Charles Traynor. Jimmy Kong Chigros. Damien John Wicks. Barry Jean Biao Yan. And in electrical engineering, Assad Veteran. Martin James Baxter. Angelo Robert Cerrone. Antonio Secho Coho. Stephen Dawn. Gregory Lawrence Humphrey. Eddie Ann Gia Kyung. Lyle Kremovsky. Chi Pok Liu. Eddie Matic. Dirk John Overton. Joshua Adam Petrie. Marcek Paul Pogosky. Katrina Louise Rainey. William Salame. Kabish Shah. Konstantinos Savalias. Robertus van den Breck. Bill Velkovsky. Patricia Wong. Yo Salvador Zamora. And in telecommunications engineering, Andrew John Clemens. Robert James Rowland. And for the Bachelor of Information Technology and Communication, Anthony John Green. David Roland Hilda. John Fong Kok. And for the Bachelor of Information and Communication Technology, Indika Abhiwakrama. Marina Valyanovska. Felicity and Winling. And for the Bachelor of Mathematics, Bachelor of Computer Science, Kenneth Alexander Finlayson. Brian James Gates. Jody Leanne Malcolm. Michael Walker McLaren. Adam Roland Picott. Tina Amanda Piccolo. And for the Honors Bachelor of Mathematics, Grant Matthew Cox. Robert James Denham. Carly Renee Johnson. Haley Ann Petrie. Now Ellen Stadner Willing. And for the honors Bachelor of Engineering in Computer Engineering, Michael Stewart Beck. Scott Allen Blacklock. Edward Chan. Darren Andrew Collins. Thomas Arthur Irvine. Jeffrey William Moscroft. Mohammed Reslan. Gustavo Adolfo Rey. Rodney John Stewart. And in electrical engineering, Damien John Mannix. Stuart John Olson. Michael John Smithers. John Joseph Turner. Oliver Yakimowski. And in telecommunications engineering, Matthew Evan Melis. Stephen Jonathan Neville. Long Nguyen. Igor Tamarkovsky. And for the honors Bachelor of Information Technology and Communication, Deborah Jane Atkinson. Benjamin Arthur Engel. Jeremy Stephen Hidnowski. Stewart Rex Nooks. Jerry Besso Veneris. Daniel James Watson.
We now have a musical interlude entitled Kommt ein schlanker Bursch begangen by the composer Karl Maria von Weber. It will be performed for you this morning by Girk Norray, soprano, and David Vance, piano.
for the Honours Bachelor of Information and Communication Technology, Renee Marie Adams. Matthew Joe Kelly. Belinda Minette O'Rourke. Barbara Jane Simmons. Andrew David Thomas. And for the Honours Bachelor of Mathematics and Finance, Rachel Judith Lloyd. Michaela Louise Burnham. And for the Honours Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Engineering, Christopher Graham Ware. And for the Honours Bachelor of Information and Communication Technology and the University Medal, Ruth Belinda Hill. Will the candidates who are to be awarded graduate certificates, graduate diplomas, and to be admitted to master's degrees please stand? Chancellor, I present to you the candidates to be awarded graduate certificates, graduate diplomas, and master's degrees.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I award you the graduate certificates, graduate diplomas, and admit you to the master's degrees for which you have qualified.
Chancellor, I present to you for the Graduate Certificate in Information and Communication Technology, Paul John Wilson. And for the Graduate Diploma in Science, Hani Dawood. And for the Master of Computer Science, Chong Ying Lau.
What are you doing now? What are you doing next? Good luck. That's for you. Congratulations.
Xiong Ling Yilan Yan.
Whereabouts? Where? Right. Oh, good luck. That's for you.
And for the Master of Engineering Studies, Elvinda Pao Ichpani.
What are you doing next? Oh, right. Here. Yeah. Well, good luck. Whatever it is, that's for you. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Anne Min Zhu. And for the Master of Information and Communication Technology, Diane Helen Marie Ayers.
Oh, good. Yeah. How long did this take you? 2 years. 2 years, right. Yeah, well deserved rest. Good luck when you start again. That's for you.
Xiao Peng Charlotte Chen.
What are you doing next?
I'm doing a Master's of Computer Science
Right. In Wollongong? Here?
in UOW.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, good luck with that. That's for you. Congratulations.
Umex Deva.
What are you doing now? Just got a job recently back on India. It was in the Whereabouts in Madras? Oh, right, yeah. Oh, they're getting all the way. Well, good luck. Congratulations.
Ian Philip Brooker Dawson.
I'm working for Telstra, training and development, using my degree already.
So that's good. Yeah, perfect. Good luck on that. That's for you.
Alan Shane Michael Finch. Asif Yippa. Chukit Kalampaheti. And Cherry Nimanotamron. Bernhard Fernandus Mananu. Lucius Hong Chiu Ng. Johannes Dulus Uncle Wijaja. John Anthony Riley. Wai Hong Sito. Hetalkuma Bora. Chi Yun Wang. Sung Yun Wong. Somlaskana Wongrata Chatapongkai. And for the Master of Statistics, Norma Marlene Blowers. Oh, Bingley. Is it Bingley? So this one. No, I think so. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And for Honours Master of Science, Bin Liu.
The candidate from the School of Electrical, Computer and Telecommunications Engineering for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy will be presented by the head of the school, Professor Chris Cook.
Will Scott Anthony Barnett please come forward? Chancellor, I present to you Scott Anthony Barnett from the School of Electrical, Computer and Telecommunications Engineering, who by reason of his thesis entitled Design and Analysis of Interactive Video Networks and Services and his other work at the university has met the requirements for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
I am actually. Yeah. I just got back actually for 6 months overseas. That was a nice break. That's good. Congratulations again. Thanks for you.
The candidate from the School of Information Technology and Computer Science for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy will be presented by the head of the school, Professor Joan Cooper.
Will Mark Michael Geisen please come forward? Chancellor, I present to you Michael Geisen from the School of Information Technology and Computer Science, who by reason of his thesis entitled Combinatorial Design, Sequences and Cryptography, and his other work at the university has met the requirements for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy. Can you bend down a bit?
The candidates from the School of Mathematics and Applied Statistics for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy will be presented by Professor Philip Broadbridge.
Will Joanna Goward-Waraxo please come forward? Chancellor, I present to you Joanna Goward-Waraxo from the School of Mathematics and Applied Statistics, who, by reason of her thesis entitled Symmetry and Ad Hoc Methods for Solving Nonlinear Partial Differential Equations, and her other work at the university, has qualified for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Will Tui Pelotu Lafitu Katuanga please come forward? Chancellor, I present to you Tui Pelotu Lafitu Katuanga from the School of Mathematics and Applied Statistics, who, by reason of his thesis entitled Similarity Solutions for Granular Materials, and his other work at the university, has met the requirements for admission to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Professor Peter Robinson, Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the University, will present the candidate to be admitted as a Fellow of the University.
Will Keith Philip Tognetti please stand? Chancellor, I present to you Keith Philip Tognetti. Keith Tognetti was born in Glebe in 1930 and educated at Homebush Boys High. His first degrees were in mining engineering and nuclear engineering at the University of New South Wales. He then studied statistics at the Australian National University and in 1980 was awarded his Doctor of Philosophy degree in mathematics at the University of Wollongong. Keith's career path is in itself a testament to his adaptivity, intelligence, energy, and his great search for underlying patterns. He worked in the mining and transport industries before becoming a scientist and academic. His mathematical expertise, particularly in operations research, has been applied in many areas, such as the modeling of port operations. With a grant from industry, Keith designed and implemented at this university the first master's degree in operations research in Australia. He introduced discrete simulation techniques to Australia with applications in a number of systems, including biological populations. His story is not, therefore, one of an exclusive theorist unacquainted with the demands of the real world. Like the poet Hopkins, Keith appreciates the beauty and freshness of things deep down and the connections between them, whether they are in the material world or in the realms of ideas and art. Members of this university have many reasons to be thankful for Keith Tognetti's vision and commitment. Keith chaired the former Faculty of Mathematics in an important phase when the Computer Science Department was established. He served on a number of key university committees, especially the Graduate Studies Committee, and above all, the Campus Aesthetics Committee. Keith Tognetti was one of the prime forces in the creation of this university's acclaimed physical landscape. With the landscape supervisor, Leon Fuller, he encouraged the native plantings on campus, particularly the rainforest species. Keith also had the idea for the ring road, which now protects the central campus for pedestrians, trees, and wildlife alike. Keith has also tried unfailingly and very faithfully to lift the spirits and aspirations of his colleagues and students, and to ward off any loss of faith and ideals. He has championed very strongly the ideas of a university as a center for the pursuit of truth through disciplined learning and research. As a passionate and eminent member of the community of scholars, he is a model for his peers. His contributions to his field of mathematics are widely recognized, not only in pure research, but also in teaching, where he has written and continually refined a number of teaching modules. His former dean has written that Keith has an appreciation of the beauty of mathematics greater than anyone else I know. As in every other sphere of his life, Keith has tried to convey to others this same sense of appreciation and awe. In the wider community, Keith has similarly been a leader and stirrer of consciences. His efforts, and those of his wife Irene, helped to give the Wollongong community an art gallery, a conservatorium, and access to the finest musical performances. He has also been closely involved in the development of the Botanic Gardens. From their experience on campus, Keith and Leon Fuller developed the idea of the green corridors that now run from the escarpment to the coast through the urban areas of Wollongong. Chancellor, Keith Tognetti could be described, like a great thinker before him, as a gadfly. He has not hesitated to sting others into action and to make them think about the relationship between their environment, their fields of work, and their values. However, he has chided without malice and helped with compassion. His colleagues describe him as a remarkable and a wonderful human being. He is seen as an individualist, but the pattern of his own life actually reveals someone who connects deeply with his world and with his fellows. In June 1996, Keith's portrait by John Everley was displayed in the National Portrait Gallery as part of the exhibition, The Clever Country, Scientists in Australia. That was a notable recognition of Keith's achievement in mathematics and science. Today, however, we honour him not only as a leading academic, but also as a colleague, citizen, activist, and friend who has made a unique contribution to our campus and community. Chancellor, it is a great personal privilege to present Keith Philip Tognetti for admission to as a Fellow of the University of Wollongong.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I admit you as a Fellow of the University. Now back to me. It's a new one. If you turn and face the audience now.
Candidates who are absent today will now be admitted to the degrees and awarded the diplomas and certificates for which they have qualified.
In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I declare that the candidates whose names are listed in the programme but who are absent are admitted to their respective degrees and are awarded their respective diplomas and certificates.
The occasional address will be delivered by Dr. John Burgess, Group General Manager, Safety, Environment and Research at BHP.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, members of the University Council, members of the staff of the University, graduates and fellow, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say how delighted I am to present the occasional address today. BHP has many past and present links to this university, and it was with great pleasure that I accepted this invitation to speak. The first thing I'd like to do in this address is to congratulate all the new graduates who have just received their degrees. And of course, their parents, family and friends who are also here today. You've worked long and hard to achieve this milestone in your life. The ceremony itself may seem something of a slight anticlimax after all the hard work, but you're now embarking on a journey which will be both exciting and challenging. Enjoy it to the full. You're graduates of the Faculty of Informatics, such fields as computer science and engineering, information technology, mathematics, statistics, electrical engineering and telecommunications. These, in my view, are very important areas for our future. And through your skills in these fields, you'll be able to make an important contribution. As I was sitting there listening to the Chancellor talk to the graduates as they came forward, the companies that they're about to work for or are already working for look like a who's who of international and Australian companies. I heard names like Integral Energy, IBM, the ABC, Digital, Motorola, Optus. and so on, Bankers Trust. And I heard places like Singapore, London, Madras in India. So you are very important people in a very important area. I think you'll not only find personal fulfilment in your future professions in these fields, but we'll be able to look back and say, I have made the world a better place as part of my work. My background is in engineering, in fact in chemical engineering. And I have to say that my career has been a very exciting time. It's led me to many parts of the world as part of my job. I've stood on the Great Wall of China and visited the green rolling plains of Inner Mongolia. I've been soaked by a thundering waterfall in Venezuela. I've been roared at by a lion in Kruger National Park in South Africa. And I've visited ancient American Indian cave dwellings in the USA, all as part of my work. Well, the weekend part anyway. I've been entertained by professors and their geishas in Japan. As part of my work, I've visited steelworks like the one here in Wollongong, in Japan, China, the USA, Germany, France, Britain and Canada. I once even visited a blast furnace, and one of the graduates actually mentioned that they're working on the blast furnaces here in Wollongong. I once even visited a blast furnace in Japan which had full-sized ornamental carp swimming in a pool only metres away from flowing molten iron. And of course I've spent many, many hours working in a hard hat on BHP's blast furnaces in Australia. Indeed, BHP now has 2 world-class blast furnaces here in Port Kembla. And I made a very small contribution as I went through my research career to their current excellent performance. I've got many stories to tell about those blast furnaces. When I first started research into these huge reactors, which convert iron ore into molten iron, the operation was regarded as something of a black art. We managed to influence and change this by using chemical engineering fundamentals linked to mathematics and computer numerical modelling. We also used selected experimental studies to inject some scientific principles into the accumulated store of knowledge of how those blast furnaces worked. In some of our approaches, we developed quite sophisticated mathematical models to predict the inner state of the process. These models are being used today at the steel plant to guide the operators and to optimise performance. Some of our experiments were gargantuan. At the steelworks, one experiment which we did more or less continuously through the night, we involved dumping 85 tonnes of iron ore in a full-scale rig 8 metres across in a few seconds. We then linked the results we obtained into a mathematical model of the process, describing the way the iron stacked itself on top of the coke layers. An application of mathematics which was very closely linked to a real practical process, where our aim was to increase the efficiency and the productivity. I'm sure that many of you here will find equally useful and interesting applications of your skills as you move into the professional phase of your life. In addition to my involvement in research for BHP, I'm also involved in BHP's safety and environmental areas at the corporate level. BHP's made many large strides in safety in the last few years. For example, we've reduced the occurrence of serious injuries in the steel divisions of BHP by a factor of 10 over 5 years, and improvements are still occurring. In the environmental area, we produced our first public environmental report last year. And I'd commend this document to you if you're interested in the environmental performance of a large company like BHP. BHP was one of the first 4 companies to make a voluntary agreement with the Australian government in a key environmental area, and that's climate change. I'd now like to spend a few minutes talking about this topic, which I think will be of great significance to our country. and to the world. Many of you know about this, but for the benefit of those who do not, this is a so-called greenhouse effect, where certain gases in the atmosphere entrap heat. There's a natural greenhouse effect which occurs on the Earth, and without it we would not be here because water would be frozen and it would be too cold for us to be alive. One of the main gases which causes this effect is carbon dioxide, and since the Industrial Revolution the concentration of this gas has been rising in the atmosphere. How do we know this? Well, excellent work has been done in Australia by the CSIRO to measure these concentrations of gas going back over the years. And they've done this by extracting ice cores from Antarctica. And those ice cores contain very tiny air bubbles from hundreds of years ago, and they analysed the air in those bubbles to establish how the gas concentrations have changed over time. So theoretically, the increases in concentration in those gases should cause an increase in temperature. These days, with the advent of supercomputers, you've probably noticed that weather forecasters are getting better and better at predicting our short-term weather. The reason for this is that the computer models are becoming more successful in simulating the daily movement of weather systems, the types of systems you see every night on your television news. Incidentally, the Australian Bureau of Meteorology has just commissioned a very large supercomputer in Melbourne for this very purpose. And some television stations in Melbourne, I'm not sure about Wollongong, but some in Melbourne are now even giving a 7-day forecast. I'm told by the Bureau of Met that this is drawing a very long bow at present, but they have high hopes for the future. In any event, these same models are being used to predict long-term, that is 100-year timescales, trends in global climate with increased concentrations of greenhouse gases. There are many complications in these predictions, things like clouds reflecting sunlight back into space, the effects of increasing sulfate particles from coal-burning power stations, for example, the interchange of gases between the atmosphere and the ocean, and the deep currents in the ocean itself. So there's robust debate going on, therefore, about the accuracy of these models. But nevertheless, on balance, a group of 2,000 scientists worldwide has come to the conclusion that the balance of evidence suggests that anthropogenic or man-made emissions of greenhouse-enhancing gases will lead to increased global temperatures. These are forecast, these temperature changes, to be between 1 and 2 degrees in the year 2100 AD. And that's with a predicted doubling in carbon dioxide concentration. I guess to some of us it doesn't sound like much, but it's important to note that that's effectively 20% of the variation between interglacial periods and ice ages. So it's actually quite significant, even though the number is small. Now, in Kyoto, Japan, a critical meeting was held in December last year to decide what the global community will do to address this issue. The outcome of this was that Annex I countries, essentially the OECD countries, will be asked to limit emissions of the greenhouse gases. The aggregated value of emissions reduction is about 5% relative to 1990 levels, and the aggregated group of countries have agreed to do, well, the protocol says that should happen between 2008 and 2012. But it's very important to note that this is about 30% below business as usual projections. So although a 5% cut has been put forward, it's about 30% lower than would have happened under business as usual. In Australia's case, we negotiated an increase in emissions, which I guess most of you have read about in the newspapers, of 8% by that time. However, we all need to realise that this is still a very demanding target. since it represents 36% less than business as usual. In our case, it's been made slightly easier by the inclusion of land use and forestry activities. So we can grow trees and get a carbon sink that way. So the protocol has opened for signature. It opened for signature on the 16th of March 1998, and it's open till the 15th of March next year for signature by the countries. It's interesting to note that the first signatories of that protocol, which happened on the first day it opened, were several small island states who are concerned about their inundation by rising ocean levels. Other countries, including Australia, have still to sign the protocol. Final ratification of the protocol, which is when it comes into force, will require 55 countries, which account for at least 55% of the emissions, to sign. And that may well take several years to achieve. Transportation in Australia emits more than 1/10 of our greenhouse gas inventory. And it may surprise some of you to know that agriculture and land clearing something less than 1/2 of our inventory. The rest is essentially coal combustion for power generation and by industry generally, as well as methane emission during coal mining. It's probably noteworthy here to note that BHP generates electric power from methane emissions in the collieries close by here and sells that power back into the grid. In fact, enough power to power 60,000 homes. BHP emits around 1/20 of Australia's greenhouse gases, mainly in steelmaking operations and associated coal mining, and Australia's greenhouse gas emissions are about 2% of world emissions. So we'll all need to do many things across the board in the event that the Kyoto Protocol becomes ratified and implemented. As time goes on, we may find that we have to make ever more demanding reductions in greenhouse gases into the next century. However, if the underlying science is proved to be correct and the politics forces a major change, why couldn't we all make a contribution by taking a very innovative approach? Examples might be, just off the top of the head, why couldn't we each plant 7 trees per year to sequester all the carbon we emit driving around in our cars? Why couldn't we grow sustainable forests to produce charcoal to fuel blast furnaces and other energy industries? I'm here talking a long way into the future. Why couldn't we develop a hydrogen economy, for example, using hydrogen fuel cells to power vehicles? I might mention here that Daimler-Benz and a company called Ballard are spending over $1 billion on this technology right now to make hydrogen fuel cells to power cars. Why couldn't we generate and export power from the roof of every home through the development of novel solar panels? Why couldn't we design new cars which achieve 2 litres per 100 kilometres consumption, perhaps powered by a hybrid electric fossil fuel engine? I believe that the graduates sitting here, the new graduates sitting here in this hall, will have a very important role to play in these future challenges as we go forward. The mindset which will be required is how to, not why not. And I think that there'll be many problems facing the world of that type where we need that mindset. And as I said before, I think you graduates have the potential to make a very significant contribution to that. As one of the graduates said to the Chancellor during the presentations this morning, we should go ever onward. It's the same for us at BHP now as we strive to reinvent the company for the next century. But just as importantly, it's the same for you new graduates as you go into organisations in Wollongong, in Australia and throughout the world with energy and fresh perspectives. Good luck and congratulations to you all.
Chancellor, Dr. Burgess, ladies and gentlemen, and especially our graduates. May I firstly just add my personal congratulations to each of our graduates and their families and friends. I just say that all of us up here on the stage understand the pride, the sense of satisfaction and the joy that all of you are feeling at the moment, and we share that with you. Secondly, I'd just like to say to you that as from today, there is a special bond between you as graduates of the University of Wollongong and your university, our university, the University of Wollongong. From now on, right throughout life, if you do well, the university does well, and if the university has a high reputation, you do well. We do have a high reputation. That's on account of our former graduates. Our current graduates go as our ambassadors, and the future of our university rests on how well you perform out there. So as your Vice-Chancellor, I say to you, go out there and outperform the graduates from any other university. Can I just say to Dr. Burgess, we're very grateful, saying on your behalf, we're very grateful for the challenge that he's issued to us all, not just the graduates, I might say. There's a message there for each and every one of us in the room. But he is saying to you as the graduates, and this is the main message that I took out of what Dr. Burgess said, you are special people, but with that goes a special responsibility, both to our environment and to our world, as I've said, to your university. So by all means, he's saying go out there and do what he has done, enjoy your professional life, but at the end of the day, make a difference. So will you join with me in thanking Dr. Burgess for the challenge he set for us?
I thank you all for joining us today for this graduation ceremony, and I invite you to join the graduates outside for a cup of tea and coffee, and I now declare this congregation closed.